Okay, today I am going to show you how to use the TI-84 to calculate the regression line for y on x. I'm using an example from page 229 of the Oxford Course Companion for the Math Studies. So what you need to do, we have 10 students here who train for a charity walk. They've trained for a number of hours, and then they do the walk, and we know the time that they walked it. So what we need to do is put the data in. We have bivariate data here. So I'm going to put the training time into one list and the time to complete the walk in the second list. So as you know, you go to the stats, right? Because we're looking at statistics, and we're going to edit our list. Now, I've gone ahead and already put in the numbers. So hours went in L1, and then the time to walk in minutes is in L2. Okay? And I can just go turn my stat plots on. Okay, so it's on and it's going to do a scatter graph. And I'm going to make sure I don't have anything else there, so I can just go ahead and zoom stats. And there are my data points. So it looks like I have a negative correlation, right? But I want to see what R is, and then I want to see if I can actually draw a regression line, okay? So the first thing that I need to do is I'm going to go to Stats. I'm going to calculate the linear regression. So your calculator should look like this, okay? So it says, where's your x values? Well, my x values, because the time that they train could change, so the x values is L1. The time it took was dependent on that, so that goes in L2. And what I want to do is I want to store an equation, okay? So it will automatically put the line in for me. Like I said, over here, there's nothing right now. So I'm going to go to vars. Excuse me, I have to go back. Linear regression. Store the equation in variables. Now I actually want a y variable. I want a function. So I enter y1. So what it's going to do is when it calculates the linear regression, it's going to store it in y1, and it will actually draw it for me. So now I'll go down, calculate, and I don't get an R value. The reason I don't get an R value is because I don't have, if I go to my mode, you can see I'm in radian, which means my calculator had been reset at some point. Needs to be in degree for math studies. And I need to turn diagnostics on. Okay, so diagnostics must be on in order to calculate R. So I go back, calculate linear regression, store that vars, y vars, function y1, calculate. And there we have R. And sure enough, it's in negative 0.07. So we can do the linear regression, and we'll see that A, or the slope, is negative 0.1465, etc. And the y-intercept would be 17. Okay? So now what happens when I go and I look at the graph? It actually draws the line for me. If I go back and look at y, I'll see the equation there. See the arrow there? That means I have to scroll over to see the x and the y, because it put the whole value in there, etc. Okay, so there's the graph. Now the next part of the question says, using your equation, estimate how many minutes it will take a person who trains 18 hours to complete the walk. Now we can look at 18 hours because it's within the scope of training hours that we looked at. It's greater than 3, but less than 21. So we can use our equation to predict someone who trains 18 hours, how long it will take them for them to complete the walk. So what I do is I go over here and I want to draw And I want to draw a vertical line. And I want to go over here to 18. So I've got x equals 14, but I want x equals 18. So if I go over here to 18, right there, 17.9, 16.1, or 16. So now we've answered the whole question. That's it for today.